and and I do civil work.
What what areas do you cover, Sally?
I cover District 1, 2, and 3 mostly. And of course, Garza Law has bought out a local, they bought out Tony Seaton's office. So
now, I didn't know that.
Yes, and I'm going to Knoxville occasionally for them.
Okay.
And I'm trying to retire again.
I find that court reporters don't retire.
No.
No, we do not.
No.
No, and thank you. Even like the ones that I worked with, it would be, they would say, okay, I'm retiring. Then they're like, okay, y'all let me know when you need help.
Yeah, let me know when you need me. Yeah.
I'll be like, I'm going to be taking a vacation before long, so I'll need a little extra money, which is good to have that ability too.
Lisa,
go ahead.
This is Lana again. I signed in on mine and it still won't it's still showing me as Diane and won't let me change it.
It's okay. I'll get you signed in. You're fine.
Okay, thank you.
We know you. Well, I'm Ann Walker, and I work the 12th district, which is Marion, Sequatchie, Franklin County, Ray, Grundy, and Bledsoe. And I'm retired, but I'm doing contract.
Yeah, I retired too, Ann, back in 2017.
Oh, well, I was 19. But Frank still works.
Frank still works. Angela, can you hear us?
I can. I'm Angela Butler. I live in Lincoln County. Predominantly, I have worked in the 22nd, which is Giles, Lawrence, Wayne, and Murray. Sometimes I work in Lincoln, Moore, Marshall.
Do you do civil and criminal, or?
I do civil and criminal. My husband's retired, so I may never retire.
And alias Diane, did you say your name was Lana?
I'm sorry, I wasn't on here when y'all said to introduce. My name's Lana Oot, and I work in the 12th Judicial District. Mostly now I just transcribe things for the DAs.
Oh, Lana, we need to have a talk.
Okay.
That's what we're here for.
See, there's Lynn. Lynn, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Lynn Colquette. I'm from Davidson County. I would still do civil and freelance, but I stay pretty busy in Division 2 with Judge Dalton.
Is that Nashville?
Yes, it is.
Lynn works with my judge I used to work with.
Yes, Lisa has trained me well.
You're fortunate.
She's a good judge too. That means a whole lot.
You're very fortunate
to have a good judge to work with that likes to make a good record. That's really nice.
Oh, and she does make a good record.
Yes, she does. She really does.
My judges do too. You have to train them right. It takes a while to train a good judge.
Yeah, it's nice when you can work together with things like that. And yeah, that really makes a difference. It makes it a lot, it's easier if you can make the job. Nothing's easy really about it, but you can make it better to have one working with you like that. Let's see, we got, is that Aaron up there? Let's see, who is the EEF 22?
That's me. This is Edith Fletcher. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can.
Okay, let me apologize. I am having a bad hair day. Have an appointment for tomorrow. Been in the swimming pool all week.
No worries. You don't have to have your camera on. It's fine. You don't have to
Okay.
have it on.
So
I was trying
I'm
to
retired. I came out of retirement, did a little 1 day a week work, and now I'm going to transition back over to civil. I can after July. But I live in Williamson County. I've been working in Rutherford County, and I used to be the official court reporter for Wayne Lawrence Giles, the county Angela is working for. So I've been retired since I think it's 2017. Went back in to work 1 day, and now I'm out until July.
We keep trying
End
to
of
pull you
July.
back in.
Huh?
We keep trying to pull you back in.
I know. As soon as I get out, I have to come back. But yeah.
Edith, you know,
I really appreciate this, Lisa, because I need hours to keep up my license, and I haven't done that yet. So I'm going to crash course it all into this, whatever you give me, and pay for the others. So thank you.
You're welcome. There'll be several other things that I've been on and some other people have been working on with me. And
Okay.
they just set up a Dropbox for me. Lynn and me were talking about Dropboxes yesterday, and the AOC set one up for me so I could have everything going there because the recordings were too large for me to try to send my email.
Yeah.
It wouldn't let me do it. So
Well, I really appreciate this.
you're welcome.
Yeah.
So there's several other kinds of in the work. So I will let y'all know. Hopefully I can get all that set up in there tomorrow because I know it's getting closer, and for the
Yeah.
ones who's trying to get the credits want to get as much as possible. And while we're in talking, the ADA just sent me a message. She's going to do that one I was talking about from arrest to conviction and beyond. She's going to go through that and kind of explain like the procedures of everything that happens, just background stuff. So she was
Sounds
just
good.
emailing me. I think she wants to do it on Friday. So we may even depend on what she wants to do. If she wants to do it on Zoom, I may send out an invite for that. Anybody that wants to do it live, and then you don't have to worry about going little question thing and none of that. You can just, be online and then be through with it, besides doing the survey thing that they require for us to do
Yeah.
for that to be able to go through. And I was telling Mel too that I talked to the Board of Court Reporting too to get them to verify everything that, what we're doing and everything to make sure. And she called me back. It was the head of the board called me back and said that everything's good. So I just wanted to make sure that you knew, and I'll send you out a certificate too for your records in case you need it or keep them for being audited, whichever way. Some people send them in and some just hold on to them. So, but we'll do that.
Well, thank you. That's awesome.
Welcome. You're welcome. And let's see, Gloria just came in. Gloria, do you want to introduce yourself? Say what counties you work in, just, little stuff like that if you want to.
Hi, I'm Gloria. Yes, I work in Sumner County, and for the past few years, I've been working in criminal court with Judge Gay.
Hi, Gloria.
Hi.
I think we can probably get ready to start here in just a few minutes, Mel. If we do have, if y'all look at the bottom of your screens, you should see down there like a button for chat. Some screens may have a button that says more, and it'll have chat on there. Some of them may just have chat down at the bottom. If you have a message or anything you want to send out to the group or a question, you can just go into that chat. It'll pull it up on the side and type in your message there. You can select if you need to send it to someone in particular, like Anne and Lana may want to talk about transcripts. Y'all had mentioned about doing some for the DA, so I just like that. Y'all can swap some information in the chat between yourselves, or you can send questions to the whole group, whatever you want to do. That's through the chat feature. There's another one. If you look in there, there's one that says reactions. If you have anything you want to put on that, too, and then one where you can raise your hand. You can see if you see that down at the bottom of your screen, and if not, it might be under a button that says more. Whichever. But if you have something in particular that you want to say during that, you can raise your hand too. And if when Mel notices it's a good time, then she may go into see what you want to add or ask about the topic that we're on at the time, or you can just put your questions in the chat. And if she may ask a question, then we can raise our hands or whatever. Whatever you want to do. But anyway, so unless anyone has a question, and when we get done, if you have anything to add to it, I want to talk about how your county may do some things and stuff like that too. Everything's good. Everything's welcome. Just have an open discussion about it. There have been several questions and things to do with exhibit volumes, and Mel and I had talked about it in the past, and she very kindly agreed to help us with that and just kind of put this video together to help anyone that has a question over it or just have a discussion over it. So I will mute my microphone, and if y'all want, you can mute yours in case you might have any background noises, and then just unmute it when we get ready to talk or something. And I'll turn it over to you, Mel, and I'll listen for your cues and pull up whatever you need, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Let me introduce myself. I work currently in First Judicial District, exclusively in criminal court with judges Rice and Street. We cover 4 counties. That's Carter, Unicoi, Johnson, and Washington. Washington, of course, being our largest county. That's Johnson City, Jonesboro. And I've been a court reporter for, believe it or not, 45 plus years. I've been in criminal court 25 plus years. I've worked in 4th, 2nd, and 1st predominantly, and have subbed in a lot of the other districts as well. So I've been doing this way too long. I retired as an official in 2017 and then began immediately as a contractor. The AOC terminated my position in 2017 when my judge retired. So that's how come I was forced to retire. And I've been working as a contract reporter ever since. So I also worked in Atlanta for 10 years with a court reporting firm in Atlanta. So I've had pretty good different kinds of venue experience. So when Lisa and I started talking about this, I thought it was a super idea for a lot of different reasons. And I don't know if you all feel the same way I do, but I laud her for doing this. It's really nice that we have a court reporter. I loved Connie. It's really nice that we have a court reporter managing us, in my humble opinion. All right, so I'm going to tell you about how I do my exhibit volumes. And Lisa and I were just talking about this before we came online, and that is that it's interesting to us how not only different districts do things, but different counties in each district can do things differently. Their clerk's office can handle things differently. And when I worked in 2nd District for 10 years, our clerk's office traditionally expected the court reporters to actually physically put the exhibits in the exhibit volumes. So before it went up to appellate court, we actually had to go into the clerk's office, retrieve the exhibits, and put them in the exhibit volumes. In first district, we don't have to do that. We cover 4 different counties, and our clerks actually put the exhibit volumes together. But unlike Lisa, and again, this was a surprise to me. I didn't know it wasn't always done like this. In Nashville, when she was working in Nashville, she just took her index, her exhibit index, and correct me if I'm misunderstanding this, Lisa, but she took her exhibit index with the page numbers when they were introduced, etc., into their appellate clerk in their clerk's office, and she actually prepared the exhibit volumes. We don't do that the way that we do it in our district and the way that we did it in second. The court reporters submitted the blank sheets, an exhibit volume, just like they would volume 1 through 10. And then our exhibit volume was a separate volume, of course. And we gave it to our clerks that with pages with the descriptions of the exhibits on. And in first district, the clerks put the actual document exhibits into the exhibit volume. If I understood correctly, Lisa didn't have to do that. Their appellate clerk actually made up that separate exhibit volume. So that was different. I was telling Lisa that back in probably around 2010, I'm not positive of that timeline, we began to get a little more direction from the appellate division as to what they wanted sent up and what they didn't want sent up. And because in second, at the time where I was working, we actually had to put the physical exhibits in. We had to know what exhibits they wanted to come up and what exhibits they did not want to come up. And basically, as you all know, those of you that work, as you all already know, they just want document exhibits. No physical exhibits go up. So that was a little bit of a change in the clerk's office because they were sending everything up prior to that. So then we found out also that the appellate courts, my exhibit pages were at that point in time still having judges' signature lines on every exhibit page. And we found out that we didn't have to do that. And I got that through my Knoxville court reporting friends that let me know that they didn't do it that way. So our judges were ecstatic that they didn't have to go through and sign every exhibit page that we were putting into the appellate record. So that stopped somewhere around, I don't know, 2010. It could have been later than that. I'm not real good with the dates. And so then I changed my exhibit pages to just, and Lisa, if you could pull up that exhibit page that I sent you, it's much simpler, and I do it as a template, and it's much simpler. Does anybody that I'm talking with use WordPerfect? Anybody working in WordPerfect? Are most of you using the CAT system? Okay, so you have go to that where it says exhibit page, that tab, and scroll down. And one more. There you go. And that's what my exhibit page looks like in my exhibit volume now. And those little plus signs are just where I put my information. I have my exhibit number. Below that, I'll have my description of what the exhibit is. And below that, where you say that page plus in parentheses, is where the exhibit was actually introduced in the transcript. And my clerks have told me that was very helpful for them when they're putting the actual exhibit volumes together to know where that page was that it was actually introduced. And then below that is the type of proceeding. And this is the template that I got from the Knoxville court reporters that I was friends with. And this is how they did it. The type of proceeding, you just put it as a jury trial, sentencing, whatever it might be. And then below that, you put where it was the date that it was introduced. And that's it. No more signature lines. So that was very, very helpful. Also, one of the things I started doing in the more recent years, Lisa, if you could go to that Rogers tab. This was a trial that I typed for one of my Knoxville court reporter friends. And I started doing master indexes and exhibit volumes together. So once I don't do it for every transcript. Once I reach about 4 volumes of a trial, once it starts going to the 5th volume, 6th volume, whatever it might be, I started including a master index. I don't do it every time. But Lisa, if you'll go to the next page on that, I start putting in my volume table of content, volume indices, just so that they've got one place that they have to go for all of their table of contents for all the volumes. And then if you'll scroll on down through that, those are all just the table of contents for that whole trial, which was pretty voluminous. Going down. And there's where my exhibit index started. And then if you'll scroll on down, I'll show you a filled in exhibit page that I do. That would be my first filled in exhibit page. And that's it for the way that I do it. Let me mention that I'm doing this from my RV. By the way, you all are getting me raw. I don't take makeup. I don't take anything. So I wasn't expecting to have to do this online. So this is me, ladies. No makeup in my RV.
I think you look great.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I didn't know that Zoom would enhance your appearance. So there you go. Anybody? Any questions? Anybody?
I have a question. This is Edith Fletcher. Now, most of the clerks' offices that I've worked for have their own way of doing the exhibits. I mean, we've got, trial transcripts. Our first 4 pages, no further than 5. I was always taught, you have your cover page, you have the people that's there, the DAs and whoever's there, then you have your exhibit pages, and then you don't start the transcript. I mean, you shouldn't start this transcript. I mean, you shouldn't have all these exhibits. Now, the clerk's office I've been in touch with, they have their own system of taking the exhibit from your pages and then recording or sending it, whatever, up to the Court of Appeals. Is that not right? Because I haven't seen this where you actually make it out for them. This is part of their work. You're listing the exhibits and what was, the whole caption like you have it. But, you can have 50 million exhibits and you're going to have different pages. That's my question.
That's my understanding.
Wow.
Now,
They've changed.
let me say this again. And Lisa and I were talking about this, and this is one of the reasons why we wanted to do this, because we are aware that every district can do it differently, and every county within every district can do it. Some of the smaller counties, the clerks have really depended on the court reporters to know how to send in an exhibit volume, because they don't always know. And in the larger counties, like Lisa was sharing with me, they don't even have to be responsible for the actual exhibit
Yeah,
volumes.
and that's what I've only been used to, but I didn't know that, that the smaller counties did it this way.
Yeah. And so much of it, and you all know this, so much of it with the clerk's office depends on how they've traditionally done it. Sometimes it doesn't matter what the rules say. They've traditionally done it a certain way. And you all know that the last people you want to piss off are your clerks.
Exactly. They got to be your best
Your clerks
friends.
are your friends, and you don't want to piss off the clerks.
Exactly.
So yeah, this is the way that I've been doing it for ever since, except for a few of the tweaks that I was talking about. This is the way that I've been instructed to do it, and I've understood. I told Lisa that I get a lot used to, not as much as I used to. I used to get more information from a lot of my Knoxville court reporter friends, because they sit in the lap of the appellate court clerk's office practically. And so the appellate court clerk can tell them, this is the way we want it done, don't do it this way, etc. And so I believe in Knoxville, they have to prepare an exhibit volume like this that goes to their appellate clerk, even though the appellate clerk physically puts the exhibits in the volume. Does that make sense?
It does.
To everybody? Does that make sense to you, Ann?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
the way.
And Lana, does that make sense? That's the way that they do it, I understand. And so they actually have to, and when I type trials for them, they expect me to send an exhibit volume in with it. And then the clerk physically puts the documents or whatever's going to go up into that volume. Sometimes I have to send them multiple cover pages for the volume, because they don't know how many exhibits that they can actually exactly. They don't know how many volumes they're going to end up with, because it can be voluminous, of course.
I don't send in an exhibit volume to the clerks. They do all that.
Yeah, me too. I've never done, I've never seen this, so it's pretty interesting to me. And I've been told, not only through SCU, but through clerk's office, I don't think that would be a good idea here, because they don't want to go through all those pages, and we're charging the states. Really what they want is an exhibit page or pages. And I've always been taught and told, you can't start, and I've been told this by a judge too. I don't know where that judge saw it at, but they would not want the testimony or the beginning of the trial to start on page 55 if you've got all these exhibits.
Oh, no, this is not, I don't put this master index and exhibit volume at the first of my transcript, my trial transcript. Mm-hmm. This is a separate volume, and
you're doing a separate thing. Okay.
Exactly. And someone could correct me But I believe that we are specifically, whether it happens in the clerk's office or whether it happens at our level, the exhibits that are going to go up to appellate court have to be in a separate volume from our trial transcript. Used to way back, we actually put the exhibit pages at the back of the transcript,
Right.
and we added them in with the transcript, and we can't do that anymore.
So we
now
can't just do, let me ask you something, because I've been doing it wrong then since reporting. I've been a reporter for 28 years. So you're saying that in a trial, in the criminal trial, we need more than just the index listings of the exhibits. We need to actually make these pages to go up here. Okay, here's exhibits. Can you go backwards? Can you go back to that? Now this would be good. The exhibit index, and you're listing all the exhibits. So now we need to make a folder or something for each exhibit. Is that what I'm understanding or not? Because this is how I would just list it and send it to the clerk. And then from the clerk, she can go and look at the page number, the exhibit, and find the page, and there it is for whatever they have to do. I never knew what they had to do at the clerk's office, but I just list the exhibits just like this, and that's it. So what am I missing? What am I doing wrong? Because
Lisa, if you could go to the beginning of that volume at the cover page.
Okay, so you got the cover page, you got the master.
This is the cover page.
Okay.
And this is it Edith?
Yes.
Okay. This will be my separate exhibit volume. And I don't always include a master index.
Okay.
I don't always. On a shorter trial, I'm trying to put myself in the place of the end user when they're looking at our trials or appellate court. And I'm thinking, if it's a shorter trial, I don't do a master index with my exhibit volume. I just do an exhibit volume, but I thought I would show you all this one because I did include a master index. But Edith, this is a separate volume that I turn in with my trial volume, my trial transcripts.
Okay.
And then that will it will show all of my volume indices, and then it will show my exhibit indices, my exhibit list, I think is actually what I call it. Now that and I what I do, and everybody chime in because I think that we kind of have to do this. My exhibit volume, my separate exhibit volume, and the pages that are attached to it are sequentially numbered. In other words, if my last trial page is 203, then my exhibit volume is going to start 204, 205, and that kind of thing. This exhibit index shows what page that exhibit is actually on in the pages that follow. But the pages that follow actually refer them back to where it was introduced. Is all that required?
Well, see, and I do it that way too, but my first page is the title page. The second page is the appearance page. The third page is exhibits, and then direct exam, all of that. And so we start, and so that's right in the beginning. Okay, and then if you have to have volumes, I normally take that, the first 3 pages, if it goes to 4, I never let it goes to 4, but because I was taught by Max way back and have been doing it that way. You shouldn't have that many pages to start the testimony on. But my pages are included in front, okay? And that's where I'm getting triggered at. We have these pages in the back, which I can agree to do. I mean, it's more pages for the court reporter to be honest. More money for that court reporter. But everything I do is right up in front. Got your appearance page. You've got your title page, you know. The
And of
judge
course,
would like how you have it. And then the next page should be the appearance page, and then the index page, and then go on to direct and cross and redirect, cross, further direct, further cross, all of that. So I've never had done anything afterwards. My last page is my certificate page and a transcript.
I understand. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I would assume that, this is an assumption on my part, that your clerks then take it and make their
Yeah.
own separate exhibit volume. And again, we know that it's done differently in every clerk's office in every district in every county. So this is, I guess, and if they'll do that for you, I'll be honest, I'm making an online and recorded statement here, so I can't deny it. If you say I said it.
Right.
I hate making exhibit volumes. I hate them.
Well,
I'd rather type a whole transcript. I'd rather type a whole transcript than, and yes, my exhibit pages are in a template, so they are made fairly quickly. I do make it fairly quickly. And I'll be honest with you, when they instructed us that this is the way we had to do it, as far as, and when I say we have to do it, if your clerks do it for you, then it's done. But if the clerk is depending on the court reporter to do it, we were instructed at some point years ago that this is the way it had to be, in a separate exhibit volume with separate pages giving a description of the exhibit, etc. And I hate doing exhibit volumes, but and yes, it costs the state for us to do exhibit volumes. But that's what we were told. You know, when we were instructed to do it that way, I was like, well, it's gonna cost more for us to do it. But that's what they told us that we had to do. So that's what we started doing.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Anyone? Please chime in.
This is Gloria. So we used to do it that way. Our clerk had us, I do the transcript just like you do, and then I have my, you have your cover page, and you have your appearances, you have your index and your exhibit list. And we used to do the pages at the back of our transcript that were for each exhibit, just like you're showing. And at some point, my appellate clerk told me that I didn't have to do that anymore. I didn't ask why. I just stopped. And so I'm assuming from that she is probably doing that. If it's something that has to be done, if it goes up to the Court of Appeals, I assume then that they have taken over doing that volume, exhibit volume, which is great as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely.
So it changed at some point, but that was within the clerk's office. They made that change.
Yeah.
Lisa and I were discussing the fact, and I would love to hear different opinions on this, but through my years in criminal court, there has been a dearth of information that has come from the appellate division directly to court reporters, and maybe even to the clerks, about how things should be done. And when there's a change, we don't find out about it unless it's by rumor or our clerks saying, no, you can't do it this way anymore, or no, they don't want it done this way.
Right.
Chime in if I'm wrong.
No, you're right.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
We were told we could not, we were always told, don't break up a witness's testimony.
Right.
And then we were told by one clerk that they were breaking up the volumes and we were only supposed to have 150 pages per volume. And they
Right.
would take our transcripts apart and make them 150 pages. And we didn't know it for a long time, but it's
Yeah.
just that one county that does it.
Yeah.
So are you all just putting 150 pages?
Yeah, you have
Okay.
to. I
That's
think
what
the
I-
state have it
that's-
in their bylaws for the court.
That's what
reporters.
I've been doing, but
State website, yeah. I used to pack them in the earlier day. I've been a reporter, well, longer than 28 years, but I was guilty of that. I had the bigger, binders, and I was guilty to go over the 150 pages. And then someone pointed out to me, it's on the state's website or in their records, you can't, it's state law, you can only go 150. So I knew I was guilty of that back in the earlier days.
but
So,
a
yeah, you
clerk
gotta
had to
cut it
tell
off.
us that.
Yeah, they didn't tell, it was by trial and error. I think, just doing it. And someone says, no, you can't do that. It wasn't a notice sent out, that you can only do 150 pages.
Well, I'm confused then because that's the way I also used to do it that way. And then something came up and I kept getting different information and I called the Court of Appeals and I talked to them. And the girl that I talked to there, and this has been a few years ago, told me that she didn't care how many pages were in a volume because when they got those volumes, they had to take them apart
Yeah.
and scan all those pages. And as far as she was concerned, she would rather them be full. And if I could get a full day in one binder, then it was better for them. And then I started doing it that way. So is that wrong?
Who is this?
This is Gloria. I'm sorry.
Oh, hi, Gloria. Because
I don't have your video, so I wasn't sure exactly who it was.
Sorry.
Thank you so much for that. Because I don't, let me say that it hasn't been that long ago that I submitted, it was when I was working in 2nd District. And I submitted, I had just come back from Atlanta and we didn't have such rules down there for our trial transcripts. And I submitted a trial that was just over maybe 175 pages or something like that, didn't realize. And they sent the whole record back, with instructions. And the only instructions I've ever gotten were you put 150 pages and no more. You can put less, but you don't put more. And that has never changed. But I knew that they took our transcripts apart and scanned them. I kept waiting for us to follow the federal rules and not have hard copy filings anymore. Had digital filings only, and that, of course, that hasn't happened, and we don't know if it is going to happen. But I don't understand the 150 as either. I don't understand that, and it doesn't surprise me that the appellate clerk told you that. But I have had records sent back, the entire technical record, because the transcripts had more than 150 pages in them, and that's been not that long ago. So I feel like Lisa and I have talked about this quite a bit. I feel like that's one of the problems, lack of communication down to the court reporter level of what they want.
I agree.
Exactly what they want. So whatever I'm telling you is only because that's what I've been told, and it's been backed up more times than is comfortable. But yes, I am a strict adherent to the 150 page rule because I've had records sent back.
Wow.
And it's also, I did it like that early on, but it's also on the state's website. They give you instructions for the court reporter, 150 pages. You can log on there and see that. But I didn't know
I would be
early on.
reluctant to send a record up with more than 150
Yeah.
pages because it might not be the appellate. Well, it would be the appellate division that would, well, no, we have to file it first with the state. With the regular state courts. And they may be the ones that are perusing that and saying, no, if 150 is the rule and that's what you have to go by.
Yeah, and they also have it though on the state website for court reporters. They spell that out. At the time, it wasn't on there. I think they just put that on there within the last 5 years. But when I was doing it, it was not on there. But it tells the court reporter 150 pages, or I think it's case law too, Tennessee state law for the court reporters. They have it spelled out, but it's not like you're going to go and look, for that, especially being a new reporter.
It may be in the court reporter
Our handbook as well,
Yeah,
which we used to, use when we were officials.
Yeah,
We used it.
that's
the court reporter
exactly where
handbook.
I saw that.
And they were not very well written.
Well,
I guess
no,
that's
since the people that wrote it are long gone, Lisa.
I'm working.
Good.
We can say that.
they're very old.
I'm working
I've
on.
got the only two that were put out.
I am working on trying to update some of them too. And then one page that you're talking about, Edith, I had saved it. I'm looking for it now, and I'll also send it. And Angela had asked if I'll email the PDFs too that Mel had put in here for the slideshow, and I will for our meeting today. And I'll put that in there, and then I'll find the transcript guidelines because I saved it special, and I meant to include it in what Mel had to have it right there easy. But I'll look that up and put it in here too. I wonder if it may be because I think it's at the appellate clerk's office that they scan everything in there. So, so that might be why they probably didn't care, Gloria, how much they got. And the clerk's office, then they probably put it into the 150. I don't know how that went, but I've heard what you're saying, that they've scanned it. And I know our clerk in Davidson County, she was pretty strict on that 150 pages. We might could get by with a few over if just our indexing cover pages made it be, but otherwise they were really strict on that.
Has anybody ever
Cheated like I have and put your starting page of the body as some different, because you're going to go over like 2 or 3 pages. And I'll start, instead of it being page 4 that everything starts on, it's going to be page 3 or page
Sometimes
2,
I've had to do that.
whatever.
Thank you for the hint.
But I deny that I ever
you're
did that.
Right.
Any other questions? I sent Lisa because we didn't know the experience of the reporters that we're talking to, and the ones that we're talking to now probably don't even need this. But some of the smaller counties that I work in don't actually give us, if we have a trial, we either carry our own exhibit list to make our exhibits on, or they don't supply us with anything to actually make an exhibit list on. And so I've made up my own, and I sent one example to Lisa. And what I do as a practice, and I'm sure you're all experienced. I'm sure you do this, but when we have, especially now what she's showing you now is a high profile case that we did, that I knew how many exhibits we were going to have. And I did not want to sit there and mark those little yellow stickers with all of this stuff, which doesn't fit on there anyway. I got an online label maker send me some labels that I could print. And I used this template to print exhibit labels, and it made it so much easier. So if you all want to use anything like that, please feel free to ask Lisa or me to
Oh, I
send
would
you.
love that. That is so nice. I'm looking at that.
Yeah, this was a child murder case that we had that went for 2 weeks, and I was not going to sit there and try to put all that stuff on there. So I got labels, and I will ask her online, but I don't mean to put her in a corner. Lisa, if we do that, can we get some kind of reimbursement for those labels from the state? Is there any way that we could get reimbursed for that?
I'm glad I have my picture up. I'm playing. I'm playing. But are you talking about getting the like blank label sheet?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Now when you went on, I know we talked about like with PenGAD. Did you see some on PenGAD? Because I can order them from there for y'all.
I didn't. I did look on PenGAD, and I did not see anything that was going to be printable on the PenGAD website. So I went to it's a place called Online Labels, and they had colored labels that you could print on, and so and they also send you a template to use, and that made it much easier. And so that was what I did, was go on, and I cannot remember. I think they cost me about $50 for the smallest amount that I could get, and I've got sheets left, so they're going to last me a long time. But if you've got a trial coming up that is going to have a gazillion exhibits, this just made it so much easier to do.
I tell you what, Mel, if you'll send me the company that you got them from, maybe I can go on there and order some and then check about the templates and then be able to send them out like that. So if you just send me the link or whatever about it, and then we'll see. Because
I'll do it.
We're getting exhibit labels anyways. So if it's something that would be more beneficial in this way, then I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, this is really nice. And they were really coming in really for civil trials. Most trials, well, the trials I've done, we've always had a clerk, and we never get our hands on the exhibits. They're marking it up, and then they give it, downstairs. I never even touched the exhibit. So, but this is really nice.
How many that work
Criminal court, you're the exhibit wrangler.
Right.
Are you, Ann? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. What about Lana? Lana, are you the exhibit wrangler in court?
Yes.
Oh.
See?
Yeah.
And the ones, Rutherford clerk, downtown, I think they have a clerk, Lisa, don't they? Do you ever get the yeah, I thought I saw you get the exhibits. In Nashville, but in Murray County, they have the clerk also. Angela? Is Angela here?
I'm here.
Yeah. Do you
During
ever
jury trials, generally I kind of keep up with the exhibits, but once the verdict has come in, then the clerk comes in and takes over.
Oh, sure.
okay,
Yeah.
so you
Sure.
you do the exhibits. See, there was always a
What
clerk.
about Lynn?
Well, the clerk will mark them, but I keep account of them to make sure they
You
don't
keep
get
account
lost.
of them, right? Well, I'm saying you keep account of them, but to actually write out the exhibit number,
No, the 22nd doesn't make the reporter write the number out.
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't take a breath either for us to make a note. Either.
Oh yeah. If you're the exhibit wrangler, you just wrangle them as they
But I
come in,
like
and you're
this
making the
template.
record, and you're wrangling exhibits and the whole thing. Lisa, if you could pull up that exhibit list, it might be helpful. Most of you all are much too, yeah. Most of you are too experienced to really need something like this, but
No, I like it.
we're the exhibit wranglers in our district, all of our counties, and what I do is at the end of, if it's a multi-day trial, at the end of the trial, we inventory everything that I do as a court reporter. I inventory everything and have my clerk sign off for that day. The exhibits then go to the clerk for that day. They don't stay in the courtroom generally. Sometimes they will. If it doesn't include things like drugs or money, things like that, they lock our courtroom up so it can stay. But if it's a really high profile case and we've got physical exhibits, or money or drugs or whatever, it goes in their vault. So they take it, I have them sign off on it each day. And then before it goes in with the jury, we do another inventory. And that can be time consuming, but it can save your, you know what, that that those exhibits, and if an ID exhibit has accidentally gotten in with those exhibits, you know it and you can pull it out. But yeah, this is what I use. I just made it up myself, and I carry my husband's a reporter as well, and we carry those around in our little court reporter survival bags, along with our Excedrin and our and our little snacks and whatever. Oh.
Sometimes the attorneys will want to copy
Yes.
or look at my exhibit list too, because they haven't made a complete list themselves.
And I'll even, especially again, in our higher profile cases that are going to be multi-day, I actually will make them each side a copy of my exhibit list and hand it out in the mornings. And they really have appreciated that. So that might be something to think about. I certainly don't do it on every trial. But yeah, in more difficult, more complicated cases, I will do that and hand them out to our attorneys. And they appreciate that. And my judge, I will give them a copy as well of mine, even though they keep their own. I'll do that for them. Any other ideas from anybody that you do that you think, that's a good idea, I do this and that's a great idea? Okay, Lisa, chime in here.
I'm liking the labels.
I like those labels.
Yeah, they are pretty neat. So we'll have to check into that a little
Is that
bit.
the case number at the bottom next to the defendant's name?
It is.
Okay, very
Yep.
good.
It sure is. And see, all of that wouldn't even fit on our little exhibit labels that we get. Yeah, they will fit. So yeah, I was trying to. I started to try to make up exhibit labels, on our little PNGAD exhibit label things before the trial, and I thought this ain't working. And I'm not going to be able to make enough because I really don't know how many exhibits that we're going to have. So this is what I came up with. I talked to Lisa about it, went to PNGAD, couldn't find anything. And then this online label company seemed to have and plus, I know you all have experienced this. Our little PNGAD exhibit labels sometimes are not the best sticking stuff. They just don't stick well. And so these have a much better adhesive quality to them. And for a high profile case where you've got, I don't know how they do it in your all's court, but I'm sure it's pretty much the same. The TBI brings those evidence envelopes in or evidence bags in, and your little PNGAD, they ain't gonna stick. And these were much better adhesive than that. Now, you all probably do this. I certainly do. When I have an exhibit bag that I'm going to label, that they're going to have all kinds of serology things in their swabs and all that. I put, if they want me to mark the bag itself, I put a piece of tape over it or 2 pieces of tape over it, because those exhibit labels will not stick to those bags. So yeah, but these did a much better job of sticking.
That's a good idea. Are these like the other type of printable kind of labels? Is it a kind of sticky, like the white ones that you get maybe for envelopes or something like that? Do they stick like those type? Is that how they are?
Okay, say that again.
Does it have the same kind of sticky behind these white ones on the sheets that you're doing as like the envelope? If you make an address for envelopes and use those white labels, is it kind of like that type of labels?
No, not exactly. Because most of those, no, not exactly.
Mhm.
These are a little more permanent than that. Like on an envelope, if I'm following you, you can sort of pull the sticky lip of it back and it will come off. And these are more permanent than that. They had some that were removable and you could take them off and replace them, use them somewhere else. And of course, we don't want that. We want that thing. Well, we want that sucker to stick. And so, yeah, these were marketed as permanent, and that was what I was wanting, was permanent. Another thing I do that I'll tell you all about that I have found helpful, and I didn't send an example of this to Lisa, and I don't have an example with me, but on Amazon, dear Amazon, you can get, we know what sticky notes are, regular sticky notes. And 3M also has flag type sticky notes. The little bitty things, and they'll have maybe an arrow and say sign here or something like that. I got some of those from Amazon, but they're not 3M. They're just, and I can send you if you're interested, but you can see through them, but they're colored and they're just little strips like that. And I use those in trials when we have an ID exhibit. They're entering it for ID. You know that it's later going to be authenticated and it's going to be moved from ID into your main, introduced as a full exhibit. And I take those because they'll fit right there on one of the lines that I have in my exhibit list. And I take those and put them across that line, and I have marked on it ID only. It stays on there until they move that exhibit into actually introduce it as a full exhibit. And that helps me remember, and I can take it off just as soon as they enter it as a full exhibit. But it helps me to remember that exhibit is for ID only. And it has saved me a couple of times knowing that at the end of the day, if I'm inventorying whether it's been entered or not, and it stays in a separate place. I'm sure y'all do it that way. My ID exhibits stay in a separate place from your fully entered exhibits. And it will have one of those little markers on it as well. The TBI bag or whatever it might be, evidence bag or whatever, will have one of those. I put one, they come in different colors and you can see through them, and that kind of is helpful. But that's the way I try to make sure that my IDs don't get mixed in there by accident.